Hi, welcome back to part 2. We're going to finish our sampler, our heart sampler pillow today. And if you want to stitch along, there isn't a reason in the world why you can't just pause as you go along, because it's going to take hours for you to stitch this, but I want you to have a success. So I'm going to So I'm gonna turn the camera down to my hands and let's get stitching. You anyway, because the same way that I start the others, with just hooking this through the hoop. That's what my back looks like, in case you're wondering. So it's hooked on there. Okay, so I'm going to start. I'm using 2, and I'm using it the way I pretty much always do, where the needle is tied in, because I sit in lazy boy with my feet up and I can't afford to lose my needle. And so I make sure that my needle cannot possibly come out. So I'm basically going to go, and rather than going in the same direction all the time, I skip around. I'll go down and then up and then up and then down, because it uses less thread. It changes the look of it a little, but the very edge here is going to all be this lavender color, so I'm not doing the normal blending of long short yet, since this is a sampler and it's going to get probably made into a pillow or something. I'll finish it the way you would be finishing yours. I should do this time lapse so that it goes faster, but okay, so here I am finally where I'm going to start blending. So what I'm going to do is, what I don't want is, I don't want them all to end on the same line. I want them to alternate. So if you think of like a hardwood floor, how one is long, one is short, the next one's long, the next one's short. So they may be the same as the 1, 2 over, but they're not going to be the same length. So I'm just going to keep the line sort of straight. I don't want to make it crooked. So I'll keep going up and down, and I can fill that in quite easily. It doesn't have to be perfect the first time. So I got a short one and a long one, so I'll make this longer even. And then the next one I'll come up a little shorter. So whatever the shape is that you're working within, you can adjust accordingly. Okay, so I'm going to do this all the way across in one color, and I'll be back. Okay, so the first half is done in an uneven, so long, short, long, short, long, short, long, short. I filled in the bottom a little bit, but you can see how it blends in when you go in the opposite direction. So I'm going to start in the middle, even though I don't know why, it doesn't really matter. And basically what I'm doing is I'm trying to line up. I don't want to go crooked. I want to line up, and I'm going to aim for whatever's directly above me. Where that one comes out, this one will go in. Try not to get it tangled, obviously. So then now I'm down. So I'm going to look for one that comes out. And you know what? If I go in the middle up here, that's fine. It doesn't really matter. You don't have to limit. See, now it's going to tangle on me. Got to keep an eye on that for sure. Get that out of the way. So I'm going to go all the way to the bottom, or the outside of my line that I'm trying to fill in. And so now I've gone a little bit crooked here, and because it's a different color, it's going to show. So I'll just go to the inside of that one, catch it so it doesn't tangle. Get it out of the way. Now I'm going to try again to go straight up, and if I cross over this line, it will break that crooked look that's on there. So you don't have to go next to each other. So I can skip over to here, straight down to the bottom. You don't have to be as methodical. I can skip around. All I'm doing is I'm wasting however much thread it took to go over a little bit, and then I'm going to lay it up to see where my straight line goes and follow that up until I hit whatever the other color was. Some of you may not be as new as others, so long short is something that I get asked a lot of questions. A lot of people ask the question, how do we get the long short to work? So I do it sideways. I'm right-handed, so I'll start it on the line, really, which is definitely not beginner stuff. Oh. Okay, so I will fill this in, and I don't want to take the time. It's going to take too long for me to do it on film. You get the idea, I hope. So I finished mine, half of it the way you would be doing, half of it with the other color to show you how to blend it. Obviously it looks better this way. You certainly don't have to use two colors in your sampler. I just wanted it to show up, that's all. I told you when I started doing this one up here that I was going to do something more to it. So this is the back stitch, but I want it to be a whipped back stitch because the whipped back stitch has a lovely straight line to it. So I'm just going to go up from the bottom, and you go always in the same direction. So if you're left-handed, go left to right. If you're right-handed, go right to left. I use the blunt side of my needle, and you go underneath once for every stitch. Every single stitch gets a loop around it. So I've been in that one, so third one. And because it's already sewn down to the fabric, it doesn't make a long line, but it makes a nice straight line that's filled in beautifully. And I'm using the same color rather than an opposite color to show you what I'm talking about, because you can see as I'm doing it what a nice straight lovely line that makes. So that's great for letters and outlines and things like that. Okay, so I'll just finish that off on the back. How messy is your back? My back is messy down there where I was mucking around, but not too bad all around. Anytime you have to worry about the back is in like tea towels, hankies, and something that people are going to see the back. And don't tell my grandmother I said that, because she taught me otherwise. She taught me that the back should be as good as the front, but she's long gone, and sorry, Grandma. I don't do what you said. So this little thing at the bottom is a circle drawn with 5 spokes or 7 spokes, an uneven number of spokes. It doesn't really matter that much. And this one I am not going to do with 2. I'm going to do it with more. So this is one I just happen to have. Let's see how many strands are on this, because I'm going to double it, right? So this has 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe I won't double it. The previous video showed about threading needles. Just pinch it in your non-dominant hand and push down with the eye of the needle from your dominant hand. And if you have any, mind you, 4 is a lot, but if you have any size at all to the eye of your needle, it should thread. And it's not gonna. So we'll trim it I don't have my wax here, so I can't wax it, but that's what I would normally do. Come to a point, push your needle down on the threads and pull them through. There we go. I'm not going to double it because 8 would be just too much, so we'll just do 4. Knot for the back. So you're going to, oh, what a mess you are. Find the middle and go up as close to the middle as you can. And again, I'm not using pearl, I'm using stranded, so these little strands could separate. So I'm going to use the back of the needle. So strands are on this. So this has 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe I won't double it. 4. Knot for the back. Under, over. Find the middle and go up as close to the middle as you can. And again, I'm not using pearl, I'm using stranded, so these little strands could separate. So I'm going to use the back of the needle. So you just find one and you go under, over, all the way around. And when you pull it, it tucks into the center. So this is, oh. This is how I make roses. Now this is called a wheel, a woven wheel, but it makes nice roses. It makes nice flowers. And the middle one, I'm going to do something different, but I have to try and find out the name of it. It's something I use all the time that I don't know the name of. That's a great teacher. Yes, teach them something that you can't find the name of. You just keep going until you can't squeeze any more in, basically. And it builds. So I won't waste your time. I'll finish that off and I'll find out the name of the one in the middle. And the middle one, I'm going to do something different, but I have to. Not spider web wheel. You come up through the center the same as you did with your woven rose or woven wheel. I wish I had made that a shiny, shinier floss so that it would show better in the camera. So this one, you come up in the middle and you go down in each of the spokes, and you have to have uneven spokes the same as you did before. Whether it's, usually I do 5. This one, I wouldn't do more than 5 because it gets pretty tight in there. But I love the look of it, so got all of those done. So just make sure you don't come back up the same hole you just went down. All right, here we go. So for this one, I'm going to turn it each time I go under, so don't get dizzy. So it's under one, skip the next one, etc. Maybe I won't turn it. All right, under. Okay, so we're going to put in our guidelines for our satin stitch first. I'm going to just sort of aim down as straight as I can and find this line where it intersects with my guide that I'm doing. They don't need to be really close, but they need to be close enough that you can, if there's a curve or something, that you can follow the curve. So I will do 1/2 of it on camera, and then I will do the rest off camera. So I'll do this side. So I'm going to start at the longest point. And satin stitch is not meant to be for anything that is very long. I would say like 1/4 of an inch at the most. Got myself a, and you keep going until you cannot squeeze any more in. So I typically have one little arm shorter than the rest, and when I run out of the shortest arm, that's the end of the wheel, and then you make French knots or leaves or something around it to hide the rest of the wheel spokes that are still sticking out. I can squeeze a few more in there. Sorry if this is making you dizzy. But can you see how lovely that raised star is? Maybe I'll give it a new name. It's a spider star. So with the one down here, if you keep going and going and going and you don't pull it tight, it just gets taller and raises up. This one, you really can't get away with that. So I'm at the very end of my shortest spoke. So I'm going to go, I'm in between these two. I'm going to go down the back. I think because I have this variegated in and it seems to show up well, I'm going to do my satin stitch down here. Satin stitch is simply over and over and over again in the same direction. So this one I suggested you save. I don't know if you can see any of it. Save your thread by going down here and up here. I don't recommend that with satin stitch. So you start in the middle and work out, because if you start here and work over, by the time you get over here, or whichever direction, the angle changes. But if you start in the center and work out, you have a guideline. So you put your guidelines in first. This is a very small one, so I don't really, oh, I'm going to change needles. This isn't sharp. Haha. So we're putting in guides right now for the direction that we want to go. If I had something with a curved edge, I would be making a curved guide. But we're just going to fill in straight. So for the guides, it doesn't matter if you go up and down or all in one direction. So now I am trying to judge where straight is on here. So I pull this down, hold it, and then that gives me a guide of where to go down. And I just find it easier to pull towards me and hold it, so that's why I do. So this is, again, just eyeballing down the center where straight is. And these will all, and I went crooked. Can you see that? I'm not paying attention. So I will try to back out. So And again, with the back, I automatically have trapped it with my fingers. I can't recommend that enough. It seems like a lot of extra work, but believe me, untying tangles is a lot more work. So once you've got your guides in, you start from the center, work out with your guides, and then once you've got your guides in, then you can start. There you go, and it's under my finger. So I'm up at the corner here. So this is going to show more because it's variegated, and it's harder when it's variegated. So you might not want to use variegated. I just thought it would blend in with what I had done here. So basically you're just going to go sort of as close as you can, side by side, up, let go with that tangle, trap it under your thumb and down, and go in the same direction all the time, because that, if you don't, it will not show as being flat. So let's just fill it in here. So I have 2 strands doubled this time, mostly to save time for you guys watching. And just if you go too far over and it isn't laying right beside the next one, don't worry about it. Just go back in and fill in that little slot before you get too far over. Okay, so you know what I'm talking about, so I'll just finish off screen. Well, we're down to the last 2 stitches. So this spider flower, spider wheel, has spokes that have not been filled in. So you want to be able to do something to hide those spokes. So I'm going to just hook my thread underneath one. Come up from the bottom as well. You can go start out away from and go down close to, because you can see better what you're doing. So you're going to, I have only 1 thread folded in half, so I'm doing 2 threads here. So you want to, the same as the pistol step, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to aim, push my needle right up close and stab it in. And then I'm going to pull these in opposite directions gently. So I'm just getting tension on the line, hold that down, and then pull my thread through. As long as I don't let go of this, it won't make a mess. And a lot of people have a lot of trouble with French knots, and it's because they're not keeping tension on it. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can make smaller knots by doing less wraps. You can make bigger knots by doing more wraps. I quite like the look of the French knots. They're a lot of work, they take a lot of time, but I like the texture that you get with them. So the next within the heart stitch is going to be the split stitch. And basically it's so get it started. And because it's easier to find out where your needle point is going when you're going in the down position. I come up ahead of myself, and then I go down in the center of, not at the outside edge of, but in in the center, or somewhat in the center of the next stitch. So now I'm going to go ahead of myself again, and I'm going to go down into that stitch, because you do not want to have any space between, like this one. You want it to be more like this, but instead of being off to one side, it's in the actual center of the stitch. So it's a good outline stitch. It's not hard to do. Just make sure that you're trapping that floss in your fingers so that you don't get knots. So we just continue all the way around on the line. This particular one is really good when you have sort of small circles or small turns, because you can just make your stitches slightly smaller, and then because you're going down the middle of the last stitch, you never have it sort of fading off to one side or the other. So off I go around, and off you go around. That's what the split stitch looks like. Very similar on the back, a little thicker, actually heavier on the back. So our very last stitch is going to be couching, which is basically tacking down something. I use couching a lot for letters. I use it when I'm using metallic threads. I do not, because you need to have quite a thick amount. So I've got, let's see, what have I got here? 4. I'm not going to double it. Yeah, why not? No. So I'm going to, I have a single thread doubled ready to tack down. And then I'm going to start this one, and I'm going to not put any knot or anything. So let's just see where this goes. I'm going to leave a goodly amount unsewn at the back, because at the end I'm going to come back and weave this in. I don't want a knot, because this is so thick it's going to make a pretty big lump. And you're using 2 needles here, so this needle is just basically laying there getting ready to be used at the end. This one, if you look at your thread closely, I can see that it rotates in this direction. Therefore, I want my stitches to come from left and go to right so that they disappear. If you go opposite, they just show up more. So does that make sense? So this has got a rotation to it, and this is going to just blend right in. So just, you're going up from the left, down from the right, or vice versa, continuously. So if I go up on the line here, I'm going to move that to the other side. And then move it out of the way, find the line, and go down. Come up on the line. So you're just tacking it down. It's called couching. And it is an amazingly fast, easy, and clean looking line that you... So I will finish this round and I'll be back. I'll do the last few stitches live so that you can see how to finish it off. So you can see that it makes a lovely, slightly raised, because it's a larger number of floss strands in it. So just the last one I'm tacking down. Whoops. Snug that in, and then lay that one down and pick up the one with your floss that you're tacking down, and just go down right beside the start to the back. Run it through your thumb again, keep it from knotting. So I now have both. I have this lovely look on the front. I now have to finish off this. So this is where I started. Whoops. This is where I started and I did not tie a knot. This is where I am ending, where I did not tie a knot. So I'm going to actually make a small knot of those two, left over right, right over left. Girl Guides, Boy Scouts. Whoops. Left over right and right over left. So that is now a small knot that will not come undone. It's connected both the beginning and the end together. I'll snip that off and then I will thread these into here. And this is the one I was sewing with, and that one I can just tie them. That was quite a long project for a beginner, I know. It's not something that you're going to do quickly or instantly, but if you can pause it and stitch along. I also hope that if you have a struggle with any of it, if any of it doesn't work for any reason, or if there's something else that you are struggling with that you want to learn, please post a comment and ask a question. I'm happy to help. And I do hope that you'll let other beginner embroiderers know that there is someone out here in Never Never Land who's willing to stitch along with a beginner and help in any way I can. Thanks for visiting these old hands, and enjoy your little project. Bye-bye.